The wind drifted softly through the open window of the old Winslow estate, carrying with it the scent of damp soil and rain-soaked roses. Clara Winslow sat by her desk, tracing her finger along the rim of her teacup, her gaze fixed on the gray horizon beyond the iron gates. Tomorrow she would turn 18, an age that promised freedom to most but filled her with quiet dread. Ever since her father's sudden death 2 years ago, the mansion that once echoed with laughter had become a cage gilded in marble and silence. Her stepmother, Evelyn Winslow, ruled over it with a grace so polished it hid the cruelty beneath. In public, Evelyn was charming and composed, speaking of Clara with false affection, but behind closed doors her voice was ice, her commands sharp and absolute. Clara had learned long ago that questioning her stepmother only brought punishment, not in blows or bruises, but in smaller, colder ways: the meals she wasn't allowed to eat, the letters she wasn't permitted to send, the books taken from her shelves under the pretense of improper influence. Still, Clara clung to kindness as if it were her only weapon. She greeted the servants politely even when they looked away, too afraid to meet her eyes, and she tended to the garden her father had loved, whispering to the lilies as if he could somehow hear her from wherever he rested. Twice a week she was allowed to attend the local academy, escorted by Evelyn's driver who waited outside the gate like a shadow. Those were the only hours she felt like herself again, surrounded by books and warmth and the steady voice of her favorite teacher, Mr. Harris. He was the kind of man who saw things others ignored: the tremor in her voice when she spoke, the haunted way she glanced at the clock as if time itself were her enemy. He never pressed her with questions, but his concern was always there, quiet and unwavering, like a lantern in fog. On a chilly Wednesday afternoon, as she gathered her notebooks, she found a folded piece of paper tucked between the pages of her English text. Her breath caught as she read the short message written in hurried ink: "Your father's will was forged. Don't sign anything on your birthday." Her hands shook. No one but Evelyn and the family lawyer had ever mentioned the will. The warning filled her with a terror she could not name. She looked around the classroom, but everyone was already leaving, and Mr. Harris only gave her a soft nod before turning away. She hid the note beneath her sleeve, her mind spinning. That evening at dinner, she tried to study Evelyn's face, searching for any hint of deceit beneath her perfect smile. Evelyn noticed the stare and asked sweetly, "Something troubling you, dear?" Clara shook her head quickly, her throat dry. "No, stepmother, I was only thinking." Evelyn's smile widened slightly. "Good girls think before they speak. Remember that." After dinner, Clara retreated to her room, but the walls seemed to close in tighter than ever. She op. The candlelight flickered wildly as Evelyn's shadow stretched across the floor, swallowing Clara in its reach. The envelope shook in Clara's trembling hands, her father's name still glinting faintly on the front. "Give it to me," Evelyn said softly, her tone so calm it was more terrifying than a scream. Clara stepped back, clutching the letter against her chest. "It's mine," she whispered, but Evelyn's expression hardened. "Nothing in this house is yours," she hissed, lunging forward. Clara stumbled away, but Evelyn was faster. She snatched the envelope and, with one graceful motion, tossed it into the fire. The paper curled instantly, blackening, disintegrating into ash. The sight broke something inside Clara, a quiet, fragile thread that had held her fear in place. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She simply stared at the flames, feeling her pulse steady and cold. "You shouldn't have done that," she said, her voice low but even. Evelyn smirked. "You're a foolish girl who doesn't understand how the world works. Your father ruined everything when he married me, and I won't let his pathetic sentimentality destroy what I've built." She turned away, adjusting her silk robe as if nothing had happened. "You will stay in your room until morning. Then you will sign the papers I bring you. After that, all this unpleasantness will end." Clara said nothing. She was dragged upstairs by one of the houseguards, her wrists aching beneath his grip. They locked her in, bolting the door from outside. For a long time she sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the faint line of moonlight crawling across the floor. Somewhere beyond those walls, the truth still waited for her. Her father's voice echoed faintly in her memory: "Be brave, little one. When you're frightened, remember who you are." She rose slowly, her mind racing. The letter was gone, but Rowan had said there was proof, a copy of the will, hidden somewhere. Maybe all was not lost. Hours crawled by until a faint tapping sounded against her window. Startled, she turned and saw a dark silhouette outside. It was Rowan, climbing the ivy-covered wall with a lantern slung across his back. When he reached her window, she helped him in, her heart pounding. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "She'll kill you if she finds you." He brushed dust from his coat. "She won't find me if we move fast." "Mr. Harris sent a message. He found something in your father's archives at the academy." "A second will. He's keeping it safe until we can get out." Clara's breath caught. "So it's real." Rowan nodded. "Your father knew Evelyn would try something. He made sure there was a copy, but we have to reach Mr. Harris before midnight. If she declares you incompetent before then, everything goes to her." Clara didn't hesitate. Together they pried open the window and slipped into the freezing night, the estate looming like a sleeping beast behind them. Rain began to fall, cold needles against their faces as they crept through the gardens.